Welcome to the MTX Podcast. My name is Chad. I'm here with my good friend Chris today, and we titled this podcast "Junior High to AI." So, Chris, can you explain that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so Chad and I go way back. We met in the late '80s, junior high. So that's surreal to think back that it's coming up on almost 40 years, dude. That's crazy to me.
You're old.
You are.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, when I look back at it, we met playing basketball out behind my house. I've got an older brother. We all three played competitive soccer. You went on to play Division I soccer. Sports has always been a huge part of our life and experience. And yeah, it's crazy how community breeds opportunity, and you turn around and you've had a career of almost 30 years working almost exclusively.
Which has been awesome. We're going to get to all that, but if I could, because I think everybody wants to know, if I could describe you from those days back in junior high school. So I have to start with the hair. I don't know if you guys remember Carrot Top, the comedian, had nothing on this guy. This guy had so much hair. It was amazing. Yeah. But the other thing, super popular, everybody loved Chris. And to this day, I've finally figured out it's because you love them first and they just reciprocate it, which is cool to see as a grown adult now. They're largely the same person you were then.
I appreciate that, man. That's super kind coming from you. And, when I look back on it, some of those first things that stood out to me about you was your competitiveness and your dedication and just that loyalty that you bring. Like, the we is greater than me. And I love that about you.
I just need smart people around me is what it boils down to. But thank you. So we've probably got so many good stories from our years together. And we'll probably get in our work history at some point, but I got to tell one. So at one point we worked on a golf course together, right? And don't get excited. It wasn't that kind of golf course job. We were the maintenance crew. And we used to go to these lakes, right? Yeah. And we'd be weed eating, and lo and behold, there'd be like an 8-foot snake in the ground. And one or both of us would run the other direction. So take that for what it's worth. But that's one of my better stories for our times together.
No doubt. And, I remember that surreal experience of just playing basketball on a Saturday morning, and you're like, hey, man, we're looking for somebody that has some Unix experience. And so my background, I came into IT the circuitous route. And by that, I mean, I worked for my dad's firm, which was, he was a former FBI agent. So I did white collar fraud, theft, embezzlement investigations. I have a master's degree in theology, and then decided I wanted to get into IT and basketball on a Saturday morning with this guy. He's like, hey, we're looking for somebody that knows a little bit about Unix and is willing to stand up in front of a client and teach them about the applications. And I said, I'll raise my hand. And so really from an early career perspective, that was a huge thing for me. Is basically anytime anybody had any opportunity, I would always be the one that would just raise my hand and take it, because most people didn't want to do the crap jobs. Most people didn't want to do the hard work. And I was like, hey, I'm excited to learn something new. And I appreciate this guy vouching for me, and I had no business getting an interview.
Well, let's just say you made me look really smart. That's what it boils down to. I got into IT a little more traditional, got an engineering degree. Back then there was no AI for resumes or for recruiting. It was, hey, print off your resume, stick it in a pile. I thought I was really smart, so I printed mine off on hard stock, stuck it in the pile thinking they would find mine. I think the reality is I got the job because the person the recruiter had gone to my school, had played soccer, and so that was my in.
Nice.
So, and kind of the rest is history from the IT perspective. So that's how you got into IT.
Yeah.
Talk about, how did you get into government work?
Yeah. So government was just a natural progression. I was in the hospital and healthcare industry. And so depending on the region that you're in, some of these are county hospitals, some of them are state-run hospitals. And so really starting to explore that journey, always feel like, one of the things from a core principle perspective is that I want to serve, I want to help people. And in the healthcare space, that was very personal to me, just from a family history standpoint. And then when we, got into government, I was like, there's really not too many other professions where you can impact the lives of hundreds of thousands to millions of people by the things that you're bringing from a technology transformation perspective. And that's pretty cool. So that's something that gets me excited to do the hard things when life isn't super easy. So
Yeah, I was going to ask you next, like, why do you love working with the government?
Yeah.
But I guess you kind of answered that already.
Yeah.
So now I guess I have to answer it now.
Yes.
But I ended up working for the government. As you know, I was all commercial, all private practice. Worked for the same healthcare company for a long time in IT. When I came to MTX, was the first time I was introduced to government. And quite frankly, it was, hey, this thing called COVID hit, and now it's all hands on deck to go serve that. And as I think through my experiences and the various types of customers we've had and why the government feels so special to work with is exactly what you said. Like during COVID, while I realized that sometimes a polarizing topic, we were working 18 hours a day, six to 7 days a week, helping companies, helping the government, help individuals get what they needed, get the benefits they needed, get the services they needed, get the health protection they needed, and continue to work. So in many ways, we played a big role in helping the country continue to move forward during a very difficult time. And that is something that made the work so worth it.
Yeah.
And so valuable.
And I think, when we look back over our career, the types of transformation that we have seen, I would love for you to share a little bit about, like, what are some of those things that you remember from early in your career that you're like going, holy cow. I mean, this is like,
Listen, so I'm getting out of college, and I was introduced for the first time in college to a term called WYSIWYG, which no one watching probably knows what that term is, but what you see is what you get. That is all the graphical stuff you see today didn't exist then. So this was kind of the introduction of that. But get an engineering degree. I decided to go take this IT job because my choices were work for an IT company in Dallas or work for a carpet company in a very small town in Georgia. I'm like, I think I'll go back home. So that's the path I took. I show up for work on the very first day at this IT company, their flagship software product. I walk in for the training and it's a CRT green screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I didn't know these existed. So that was my very first introduction. And then look at the training. We were doing what today is probably called RPA. I mean, we were basically doing screen scraping. We thought it was the coolest technology that ever existed. So looking back, you're like, wow, we have come a long ways.
And to kind of follow that journey, right? From green screen and those green bar, reports that you would print out and have like trucks almost have to deliver them throughout different departments and stuff, to being a part of transformation projects, right? I mean, we saw what did the computerized physician order entry do to the healthcare space. And like, you talk about transformation where you're contributing to parts where 100,000 people lose their lives every year due to medical errors. And most of those were because they couldn't read the handwriting. And to be a part of that whole transformation process, to create decision support and to create electronic order entry, it was awesome to see. And I feel like we're at that same inflection point with government, and being in a position to actually help them see that transformation is not lifting and shifting your broken paper process and putting it into a cloud solution. It is true transformation, both from a business perspective as well as a technology perspective.
You're 100% right. Because when we got started, it was, hey, let's transition everything from paper to actual digital computers at the time. And now it's, okay, most of that's been done. There's still some holes here and there, but most of that's been done. And now it's, all right, we got this AI thing. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
And how's that going to help? And so as we kind of transition into AI in the government, right?
Yeah.
And how we see AI impacting government, right? And there's 1,000 ways. We can never cover that all on this podcast, but I think it's no secret. Most people think of government, they think of slow, inefficient, and AI is the ultimate game changer at this point, right? It's kind of leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
As soon as we all figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
And suddenly, like, there's no excuse for inefficiencies.
Right.
We can automate so many things now. We can be so much more effective with the teams and staff we
Right.
have to do a little bit more with less.
Yeah.
And there's just so many opportunities.
Yeah. And I think too, like, again, from a core principle perspective, core guiding principles for me, service to others, serve on the board, serve in the community, being in a position to improve those meaningful interactions that staff have with the individuals that they serve. I love the fact that working in government, we have the opportunity to touch the most vulnerable in society and meet them where they are and help them get what they need.
So well said. So there's 1,000 things we can do with AI today. Yeah. How do you see government getting started?
I think, there's a couple of things in my mind from an AI perspective. I think what we will largely see first is the partners who come alongside of government figuring out how to leverage AI to generate efficiencies to improve that time to value for those special projects that they're looking at. I think that we're going to see a lot more of that versus some, when I was growing up, I thought AI was the Terminator, right? Cyberdyne, it's coming, and it's going to take over the world. And yet I do think that there's opportunities for it to help take off some of the blocking and tackling day-to-day tasks so that people can have meaningful conversations.
I think it's a great answer. I think we both find ourselves in this conversation with our customers every single day right now. And the challenge I see is AI, everyone wants AI. They're not sure what to do with it yet. And there's a lot of kind of trying to boil the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I both have run marathons in our past for some reason. And when you decide to do a marathon,
it sounded like a great idea at the time, right?
It did. It was not. Neither were the next 3 you did. But when you decide to run a marathon, you don't run out the next day and say, "Hey, I'm going to run 24 miles at a 6-minute pace." You go run like 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah.
Get some experience, get some feedback.
Yeah.
Build some confidence, and move on to bigger mileage. And that's where I see government really getting started. Hey, there's so many what I'll call smaller use cases that are so effective. They're not the sexy ones that some people are talking about, but they're the effective ones. They create higher efficiencies. They help your internal team have a better experience, have more free time. They can leave on time to go home to be with their kids. And that's where, we're trying to recommend, hey, start with something small. Find a small use case, prove it out.
I love that.
And then see what the capabilities are.
Yeah. And I think that's really a great approach to adopting AI is those small incremental wins, stacking those wins on top of each other. You turn around and you're like, holy cow, we have some real operational efficiency. We're serving our communities, more easily. We've got better staff relationships. And so I see it as a time saver that allows us to really focus on the things that make us human and allow us to connect with each other.
Absolutely. And I think the other part of the conversation is, hey, the AI conversation is not a technology conversation.
Yeah.
Right. We're technology consultants, so it sounds weird to say that, but there's 1,000 technologies that can get the result. Someone once told me the AI conversation should be a 98%. What's the business use? What's the business problem that we can solve conversation?
Yeah.
We'll figure out the technology once we define the problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
On that point, if you could pick a use case in the government right now, what would you love to see AI go address?
That's a great question. I think really in that human services space, really being able to direct people and help them to navigate through that complex application process. Sometimes people may not be as comfortable with technology, and just really leveraging that to conversationally help them navigate through that. I think that's probably something that we should be seeing like immediately. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I think.
What about you?
No, that's a great answer. I think my answer, I'm going to go back to our healthcare roots.
Yeah.
I always think about healthcare, whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, maybe it's the VA for our veterans. AI can do so much, can help so much in the eligibility process, right? That's a very cumbersome, long, still very manual process in many cases. can automate that, virtual assistants, anything from scheduling to care plan reminders to, I think what we're going to see here in the near future are virtual assistants, maybe in the mental health space, right? Someone to help someone that may be struggling, help diagnose or recognize symptoms up front.
Yeah.
So there's so many use cases in the government. I mean, that's another 27 podcasts right there to discuss that one.
And we're here for all of them.
That's right. Right. Listen, I think we covered a lot there. What you got in your mind?
I'll ask you, what would you say has been your proudest or most rewarding moment working in government?
That's a good
projects?
one. That's a good one. I'm going to go back to, and because it's the truth. I think that period of time during COVID, just knowing the states, the companies, and the impact we got to have on helping the country and companies and governments move forward in a very difficult time where there was a lot of there's a lot of insecurity, a lot of concerns. We're doing technology projects in half the time, if not more, than they're usually done, because we had to.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of, all the walls came down, both on the governmental side from a procurement process and from a process side. We had to break through, create some new processes to make it happen in time. So that was a really impactful time for me in my career. And I think for the company as well.
I love that. Yeah. For me, it kind of boils down to three kind of categories. Like, we have the opportunity to do projects where they're having a direct economic impact for the state or the communities that they serve, and being in a position to support ensuring the public is protected, that they've got qualified professionals that are operating in a particular space. Or if you're working with other agencies where they're looking after the environment, ensuring that we've got clean drinking water, clean air. Those are exciting and hugely impactful. And then in that human services space, where again, I love, admire, and respect everybody that is in public service, because they've got a really challenging job serving the most vulnerable people, and oftentimes with antiquated processes and technology. So being in a position to support those who serve the most vulnerable, that's the only thing that I'm excited about.
That's the Chris I knew in junior high and high school right there. Fantastic. All right, let's wrap this up with a little bit of fun. So if you could give your junior high self a little bit of advice, what would you tell yourself?
Be kind to yourself. You're not going to have all the answers. Be a lifelong learner. Find those people that you can walk in this life with for a lifetime, and be loyal to them.
That's awesome.
What about you?
Buy stock in Apple. If you are a Cowboys fan, appreciate the 90s, because you may never see a Super Bowl again. Okay, but in all seriousness, I think I would tell myself, I was trying to map out my entire life step by step. I think I would tell myself, listen, championships don't happen overnight. Success doesn't happen overnight. Compete every day, work on your mindset, build that discipline. The rest will take care of itself. It is a long game from that perspective. And then just to kind of tie in this relationship here, relationships, jobs are important, projects are important. The relationships you build and the experience with those people, that's what matters. That's what you'll remember when you get to the end of life. That's what you'll look back on. And the fact that we've known each other for 38 years, when you said that yesterday, was like, oh my gosh. Like, I had no idea it was that long.
Right.
So,
okay.
All right.
Love you, brother.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks for watching the MTX podcast. We'll see you next time.